You got me fucked up now. Oh, bleep that out. You got me messed up because I'm like, yo, he said the energy was off, but I didn't think it was. Relation-ish, what up?
Hi, guys. I was about to say something,
What up?
but I'm not.
We're here.
Yes, we are back. Thank you very much for our 100 subscribers. Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Got another couples therapy coming for you guys. This is a serious topic.
Session 2.
Session 2.
Yeah.
We get into it about this a lot.
Recently. It's not.
I'ma tell
we
y'all-
haven't been getting into it.
All right.
All right.
Marriage. What are your... And we're not going to, I don't know how this conversation is going to go, but...
I
don't. That's why...
I said what I said earlier.
Marriage. Caitlin, what are your views on marriage? And how do you feel? You don't have to talk about it as it pertains to us if you don't want to, but let's talk about marriage, relationships today, how they differ from relationships of yesteryear. Yeah. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
So first, I just want to talk about what I know of as the origin of marriage, because that's something that we talk about when we have these marriage conversations. One, I know that they were arranged, and that was something so that people could keep certain families together and certain types of lineage. And so they would arrange marriages. And it was also a legal way or an acceptable way for a man to have female slaves. Because you could have, several wives. And today that's still legal in some places.
Okay.
Right? So what I try to explain to him is when we talk about like why women are so eager to want to get married and why men maybe are not as much.
Okay.
I think it's, from my perspective, I just think that it's, women were told who to marry, what to do. They weren't allowed to do anything. And so women had no power over anything. They had no say so over anything in their life. They just had to stay home and take care of the family and take care of the house. And that wasn't even seen as an important thing to do. So I just think that over time, as women have evolved as a whole, I think that, with us being allowed to make the decision to marry or to not marry or to have children or to not have children, I think that it's still kind of embedded in us as women, and we are told and raised that we should bear children and be married. And that's the right way to do things. I'm not saying that that's 100% right, but I'm just saying I do think that is just embedded in a woman. And women raising women, that is something that they, girls get told a lot. You have to get married. It's a lot of pressure on women. I know it's more than just society, being involved in what they say as to whether you should or shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I think that is why more women are more anxious to do it versus men. Men are not raised to be husbands and fathers. A lot of them don't have
So you're telling me your mother raised you to be a wife?
My mother did not.
But you still want to be a wife. But you tell me that you want to because it's like embedded in you, but your mother didn't raise you to be a wife.
When I talk about this in general, okay. I say that
We're going to try to keep it general.
Women are it is generally embedded in women, and women are raised that way. Just like a lot of women, I tell him this too, a lot of women feel like they are failures if they cannot bear children. And when somebody's constantly asking them when they're a certain age, why can't you have kids or why have you not had kids? That can be very offensive because they could have been trying or they may not really want any, and then it's disappointing. And I think the same thing happens with marriage.
So sounds like societal pressures to me. And I don't think that men don't.
Yeah.
I don't think men don't want to get married. I just think marriage is more of a business transaction. I mean, literally, me and you could meet each other and 2 days later go to the courthouse, pay them $75 and get married. And they're not gonna say how long have y'all known each other, none of that. And like me and Avery was talking about this earlier, unless if you sounded like you was from Brazil and you needed you was trying to get some citizenship,
I get that.
They would question that. But other than that, I think if you took that component out of it, more guys would be willing to get married. I think sometimes, even back, like you're saying, back in the day, marriage was more of a business. Like, you got a farm, we got cattle, I got a son, you got a daughter, let's put them together. Mm-hmm. Or like you said, you're a duke over here and I'm a bishop, and let's keep that kind of lineage going. None of that has nothing. Nowadays people say, I think some of the stuff that gets us talking about it more is more so, we're having a baby and we're getting a house together and we're doing all these things, and then people be like, oh, y'all gonna get married? Or people will be like, oh, they'll say it to me like, oh, do it right, blah, blah, blah. But when I hear them say it, the first thing that goes through my mind is like, are you married? Are you still with your husband? Or how are you qualified to even be asking me this? And I think the difference is, I'll look at it like that, and I think women will look at it like, oh, is he gonna marry me? Oh, I should be getting married because I'm doing these things. And it's like, why? Because everybody else says I should?
I think, like I said, I think society, the pressures, and like I said, I think that's naturally embedded in a woman. I wasn't raised, my mother wasn't hounding like, you need to be a wife and you need to be a mother and you need to be married and you need to do things this way. She didn't hound that type of stuff into me.
Because you don't. And I don't think we should with our daughter.
No, but I'm saying I think that, like you said, because it is a business, a business transaction, if you've already mixed so many things financially, because ultimately it's a union, financially, and there's
I can have all those things with someone and not have to tell the government how to tax me differently.
So that's true. But say, for example, like I've been...
Why is that not a marriage?
Like I've been telling... I think it is recognized in some places after a certain amount of time, right?
I don't think it matters what
together for so long.
That's where I defer, because it's not... Why does I have to care what anybody else recognizes it as? If we're in a relationship, technically, right? So are we single? Because technically on paper...
Hell no, you ain't
exactly, because on paper...
And don't bleep that out.
No, listen. Because you just said hell, but... Because on paper, I file my taxes as single. I haven't gone to the courthouse, but I still recognize my relationship with you, and I honor that as I should. So to me, a marriage is almost on the same level. You're just heightening it. Why do I have to go here and make it this, and then let anybody else give me pressure because I'm doing these other things over here? I don't think that. I think you can, like, if I wanted to get married to you and I wanted to have, or just hypothetical, we're trying to keep this general, but if I want to get all my friends, all my family, we have a ceremony, we have rings to symbolize it, but I don't want to do the courthouse part, is that a marriage?
Legally, no.
But what matters?
That is something within us, and I think that just goes to show that because of the laws and the way that they're set up, that's just something that you have to go and do in order to make that official, or else they will not recognize it as a marriage. We may, because we know that we've had a ceremony and exchange rings, but legally it won't be. And just like I tell you sometimes when I'm thinking about it, if something happens to me and I end up in the hospital and it is a life or death situation, you may be my husband to me, or you are the person that I'm with all day, every day. Your child is in my stomach. We could be doing 1,000,001 things together, but at the end of the day, you have no say-so in what they do.
Only because you're in the military.
No, because we're not legally married. My mother would have to say what happens to me. And that's not something that I would want to happen. I would want the person that I'm with 24/7, which is him, my partner, to be able to make those decisions. And I get what you're saying, but that is just how they're set up. So I think about, like, all the time, I tell you this, like, when you leave and I get nervous, like, if you get in a car accident or something happens or whatever, do they know to call me? No.
That's a flaw in the system, because I could put you on my insurance. All I need is your social security number, and I can add you as my beneficiary. Mm-hmm. Why is I can do that, but I can't? You know what I'm saying? Well, that's why they have common law marriages.
Yeah.
Because they know, like, everybody, this ain't for everybody. They need to change some of those rules so that, like, this is the parameters around stuff like that. But anyway, I don't care about none of that. I think, like, a marriage is a union between two people. I don't think it has nothing to do with nothing else. I'm not against 100% like the legal component that going to the court, but I was about to say, I was about to curse, but I don't mess with the whole societal pressures around, oh, you're doing this, this, and this, you should get married. Or, oh, you want to have kids with her, you should get married. Because a lot of dudes will be like, oh, make her your wife before you have a baby with her. But if I'm going to do that and I'm going to cheat on you, what's the point of doing that? If I'm not going to honor that relationship, or if I'm going to get with you and then, I don't know that, if you're going to marry somebody, you're going to be with them for 50 years. But that's what the goal is supposed to be. But some people get, you can literally go anywhere and get married. At the drop of a hat, it don't mean nothing to nobody. Everybody tries to say it means so much to them. It's you should do this, you should do that, but they let people get married that just met each other. They let people get married. This whole series, people are getting married that have never seen each other, met each other for a week, and some of them might work, some of them won't. That to me, it's like, we sat and watched shows like, how important is marriage really when we're watching a Netflix series on two people, they answered a questionnaire, they met each other at the altar, and they rocking with it.
I get it, but I'm not saying that I agree with how everyone else sees marriage, but I definitely don't think that marriage means the same thing that it did 50 years ago. 60, 70 years ago. I don't feel like it means the same thing. And I think that people who, like older couples who are still married, whether they got married and it was arranged or whether they got married and it was their choice, I feel like a lot of them, they've gone through a lot of things and divorce wasn't an option. And nowadays when you get married, the first thing people do is look at how long do we have to be married in order for me to just get an annulment and be out. That's something that a lot of people look at, and everybody wants to find the quickest way out. And when you are not legally married, that is the quickest way out. Like you can just bounce and you can do those things. Whereas if you are legally married, you have to go through a separate, a different type of process. And I've explained this because in the state of Virginia, I told him this, I had to be a witness to a divorce, and I had to sign off on like all these different statements saying they haven't cooked for each other, they don't say terms of endearment to each other, they don't hold hands, they don't grocery shop for each other, they don't do anything to each other, they don't give each other googly eyes. So I'm just saying there's a lot of requirements for them to want for them to allow you to be divorced, but there aren't a lot of requirements that allow you to, that say, well, why should you be married? They do just let you get married, but then they make you go through hell to get divorced. I get what you're saying, but why are you getting married if that's not something that you want to do? So I'm just saying, I feel like people who are doing it, it doesn't mean the same anymore. It doesn't hold that same value. It doesn't have any value to a lot of people. It's really just do it just because. Me, I feel like if it is a business transaction, and it is, I mean, if the love is there and that's something that you want to do, then okay. But I don't think that it's majority about love. I feel like that and the commitment and all that stuff has to be there before you even make that decision or talk about it. But like if you're mixing things like finances and you're, doing all of those, other things together, like buying houses, buying cars, investments, different properties and businesses, if you're doing stuff like that, if that's one extra step in a business process, and this is somebody that you do love and that you're committed to, why not take that extra step? I tell him all the time, I feel like so many people look at marriage and they're just like, it doesn't mean anything, or why do it, or whatever, but don't do it if that's not the person that, you genuinely want to be married to for a long time. That is not something that I agree with. I don't agree with this whole Netflix bullshit I don't agree with that, but
I'm just saying that's what marriage is to people today. It's some stuff to watch on TV. It's a ceremony. If I am gonna do that, I want it to be more. I don't want it to be I don't know. And then even then, I still, how I feel about it. The institution of it is awesome. Whatever. Anyway, so not saying that I won't ever do it. Not saying that I haven't thought about it, but it's not something that it's like it could for me. It's like, especially after my mom passed away, if it don't happen, it don't happen. But I guess as a woman, it's a little different because you would expect a guy to ask you and want to do that with you. And like you said, it's embedded, even though every woman I've asked, I'd be like, why do you feel like you should be married? None of them could tell me, like, at all, other than just because I want to be a wife. And then half of them I'd have to ask them like, well, what is a wife? And who knows what those answers would be. Would be crazy. So, but it's something we talk about a lot. This is like the most tamed conversation we've had about it. No? You want to keep
Why
it real?
you gotta say stuff?
Because it's the truth. That's why I like keeping it real on here. Sometimes they get a little heated debate, but
I just think that it's like that because there are too many people who don't take that part of it serious. I really do. And a lot of people go into relationships and they go into marriage trying to find out the quickest and easiest way out just in case. And I feel like if you're going into something looking for a way out, I don't really see the point. I mean, being hesitant maybe in the beginning while you're in those, initial stages, but once you get to a certain point where you're even discussing that, like it's a real discussion, I don't feel like there should be, any looking for a way out.
The same way they make you be separated for X amount of time before you can get a divorce, why they don't have them kind of parameters on before you get married?
I agree with you 100%.
But then those same people are the people that are like, oh, you should do this because of X, Y. Don't tell me I should do something because I'm doing something else. That doesn't even make sense to me. Nah. Why are we talking about that? And don't tell me how to do something that you're not an expert in, or that you did and you failed at, or you did and, you know what I'm saying? That's where I really had an issue though. I don't want nobody on the outside trying to tell me I should be doing something because of the perception from the outside. I could care less about that. That usually be my biggest pet peeve. Like, it'd be other people saying like, oh, you doing this? The other day I had a family member, we go out to eat. He knows, you're pregnant. He knows we're doing all this. He's like, you getting married? I'm like, how many kids you got? How many times you been married? Oh, all right. Why are you talking to me like that? And he just shut up. It's like, why are you saying that to me, bro? Calm down.
I get that. I do. I really do.
Cool,
I do get
that.
it. I feel like so many people just they don't have the same, it doesn't hold the same value, and they're getting married for the wrong reasons in the first place. So, I mean, if that's the case, sometimes you want to see people do it right.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's like, what does do it right mean?
When I say that, I mean get married and stay married. That's just what I mean.
Do something with longevity. But other people say do it right means, oh, meet a girl, y'all get married, y'all have kids. Who cares about that? This is 2020.
I'm not going to lie. I cared about that. I cared about the order. I had a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that I was married.
Why, though?
Before I had a child, because I didn't feel like any man should be. I feel like the greatest commit, you can get out of a marriage, but once you have a baby, you and that other person are bonded together for the life of that child, for sure. So I feel like that is the ultimate commitment to somebody else, especially if it's something that you're both choosing to do. A lot of people, we just talked about this, they get pregnant and one doesn't want the baby or whatever, but like we both, wanted, to have a baby and we're having a baby. So I'm just saying for stuff like that, like that's the ultimate commitment to somebody. So if you can do that and we're still together, I feel like if it's something to work towards and we can do other things and be successful in them, if that's just, a step, I don't see why. And I think for me, especially, I definitely think about if something happens to me or if something happens to you, I don't want there to be a question as to who has what say so. And that is a thing if you are not legally married. And that is something that I think about all the time.
That is a stupid law. That doesn't make any sense. Why is it? Well,
write a letter.
What if that person's not your emergency contact?
That's why even in my phone I asked you if you were my emergency.
Just
and the phone, because when you click the thing for the medical ID or something, there's you, my mom, and my dad.
But with your logic, I should just make it whoever can make that decision for me. Because why would I make somebody the emergency contact that can't do nothing for me? Or can't make a decision for me?
I'm talking about if it's a partner, not a random person.
Well, I'm just saying that's
like if I would prefer for it to be you over my mom, that has to be in writing.
Why?
Because she pushed me out of her vagina, and you are.
I was about to say something on camera I shouldn't say. Okay.
I mean, so that would be the.
I guess.
The next person, Just like I'm her next of kin, so if something happened to her, I would have say so over her.
They need to fix
She's
that.
my
Sometimes
next
next
of
of kin don't care about you.
That is very true, which is why I said I would rather have a say so. But that wouldn't be the case if I was in a life or death situation and I was unable to make that decision and sign something, because you don't know what's going to happen to you. So that's just what I'm talking about.
I'm sure there's other ways to
there
do
should
that.
be other ways
I'm sure
to do
there
it,
is.
but there's not.
But yeah, we don't want to get too long-winded on this one. Where we at?
Like 20 minutes.
Yeah. You got anything else you want to say? Do you? Y'all leave some comments. Let us know what y'all think about marriage. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell. If you have any ideas for a topic on couples therapy, let us know. It's Relation-ish, session 2, couples therapy.
Thank you guys for watching.
Why should I get married? All right, thanks.